Right, let's do that again.
Captain. It's still not coming through this.
It's fine. We only have one viewer.
Okay, it should have been coming through to you. Why was it not coming through? Anyway, hello everybody, welcome to Star Trek Trek. I've got some editing to do apparently. Our continuing journey through the annals of Star Trek, and we're finally
stays in. No edits.
We have reached...
This episode deserves no edits.
This deserves no edits. Yeah, so we've reached the end of Enterprise, although we haven't watched all the episodes. We just decided to say, fuck it, let's go to the end anyway, after watching Demons and Terra Prime. And I believe one of you in chat, one of you guys actually said, hey, now we've done Demons and Terra Prime, let's just move straight on to Frank's pick and do These Are the Voyages. And whoever that person was, when I find them...
8.5.
They're going to give them the 8.5 of a lifetime. So, Frank, this was technically your draft pick, or it was a draft that was picked for you, as because you weren't in the drafting session, you got all the worst episodes. So please, Frank, please tell us why.
I would have picked it if I was there. This episode is so perfect. It is, think about it. The Pegasus episode happened like 11 years before this one's airing.
He was an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Riker was an idiot because Riker should have just known what to do in the beginning. And he needs reassurance. And when Will Riker, now keep in mind, Will Riker is the laughing stock of Starfleet because he's turned down his own command how many times? To sit under the learning tree of one Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, that fucker, that asshole, who never accomplished anything.
Exactly. And he doesn't know who to talk to or who to get advice from. He doesn't have a father he can turn to. He doesn't have a friend he can turn to. Well. He doesn't have a brother he can turn to. Who does he turn to? He turns to Captain Jonathan Archer, to Paul, Commander Trip Tucker, Ensign Mayweather, Ensign Hoshi Sato, and Commander Reed of the Starship Enterprise and Phlox, NX-01, and says, damn it, I broke all kinds of laws and I killed a lot of people with a secret ship and a cloaking device, and I don't know what to do. And they told him what to do, and with his heart, he went forward, and he became one of the most important captains in Starfleet history. Did not become an admiral. He became a captain. He retired. He came back to the captaincy. And once again, so many times, he saves the universe. He saves the universe more times than can probably be documented. And why? It all boils down to this point. He got good advice from the first crew to bear the name Enterprise.
Good advice and Captain...
Look at him try.
Good advice and Captain Archer generally aren't two parts of the conversation I would put together. Excellent events. Rebuttal, gentlemen.
This episode's ass.
Welcome to Pros and Cons.
Yes.
It's just flatly boring ass. Like, I think of... some of like the worst of like late season TNG DS9 Voyager, like episodes which like you forget about. Like I think about Aquiel, I think about like Man of the People, I think about fucking oh god, so many of them are slipping out of my mind. They're so like boring, and I think, well, at least they didn't actively like shit on the show by making it 50% like another show. At least they had enough respect to the actors to not go, by the way, you're sharing your final days of filming with this guy. And it's like, well, okay, is it at least in service of like a wider point? You're just kind of gonna give him platitudes, and then he'll come to a decision that is already foregone by an episode that aired 12 years ago, 11 years ago, that has no real pertinence here. And everyone said, wow, that sounds like shit. I won't try because I'm already fired. And then that's how you get this episode.
So I actually do I'm not going to defend it. I can understand why they wanted to do something like this. 18 consecutive years of Star Trek, four different series? And Berman personally was involved with all of them, so I understand why he would want to do this. I got a lot of problems with Berman we'll get to later. But I can understand why they want to do it. I think the problem is because it's a prequel, you can't really do it without taking away from the original. If these were flipped and TNG aired later, you can go in the holodeck, bring in an older Scott Bakula, an older Jolene Blaylock, have them do something where they can be the side characters to this TNG finale. But by doing it the other way, you've made the Enterprise characters the side characters to someone else's story, and that it doesn't work for the Enterprise finale.
The kind of thing I would put on everyone's minds is just that this is a holodeck right, we haven't seen these characters for real. These are all holographic characters, similar to, and pulling from Memory Alpha, this is the only other episode that features entirely holographic crew, like Living Witness, who the original cast do not appear in. This isn't really the NX-01 crew. This is all a fabrication of a holodeck program written by someone. This just doesn't happen. I don't think, and thankfully the books then go on to just rewrite it and go, no, fuck no, this didn't happen. So this is all just kind of like Riker
which is the mark
soul-searching.
of a great episode.
And part of me kind of thinks that like Riker just rewrote it, part of himself, just so he could get in a chef's uniform and hang out with people and just try and get some like avoid his problem. He was procrastinating as much as possible to avoid the actual problem that he had.
I mean,
that's weird and parasocial.
he's got a hard decision to make. Instead, he goes and plays Call of Duty on the holodeck. I've never identified more with Riker than this episode.
Right?
A great procrastination episode.
Yeah. Pressman's waiting, Picard's waiting. He must have, because he kept breaking it up into little sections and then going back to the conference room to talk to Deanna or going to her quarters. He legitimately spent 2 days doing this. Doing nothing else.
He didn't have any command duties to execute. He didn't have any personnel evaluations. He didn't have anything to worry about.
Barclay's pissed because this is all his allocated holodeck time, and he's just like, right.
Well, Barclay can suck it.
Although they do have 5
guess
holodecks.
what? Reg needs to wean himself off. So
speaking of wean,
the thing, right?
No.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can actually see a way in which you can use a kind of similar framing device, but do it gooder. And it's you have the exact same kind of setup of it's the TNG crew in the future. If you want to, I think it would be better to use. I would have just used Voyager, frankly, because like, why not? Like maybe do something set after the end of Voyager and have it be that they're doing their assignments, so you get to tie up a lot of loose ends there as well, because we never got to see what happened they were doing after the end of the series.
I tell you who,
and then they're doing like an archaeological expedition to a planet, and it happens to be of the NX-01's last mission, and then things are the records are damaged. They don't know the exact thing, and that's how you get some of the framing structure. Is we don't know exactly what's going on here. It's like partially reconstructed logs, a holodeck reconstruction of what might have happened. And, like, you get the occasional flashback, but it's like, well, this is what we can guess happened. And then at least it's not like there's some degree of agency and of a guess as to what happened, as opposed to the holiday being like, well, yeah, this is what happened. Because I see your point, Idol, but holodeck recreations, especially of Starfleet history, tend to be like down to the minute. They tend to be like extremely accurate. And this is all fanon that you're drawing on.
This is more like me hand waving, going like, "Here's how you can just like push them up." I tell you what, going on your Voyager idea, who would actually be a good couple for this would have been Harry Kim and Tuvok. I would love Harry Kim being the Riker analog here, looking for searching the Starfleet database, and Tuvok kind of being the kind of explanation of morality sort of part to bounce off. That may, like, if you're going to talk specifically Voyager, or you could say Harry Kim and Neelix if you want to be a masochist. But
no, how about we lean into one of Voyager's strengths and into one of Enterprise's strengths, and we make it B'Elanna and Tom, and more about Trip and Paul, the people that actually people kind of care about. If you put 4 years into Enterprise at this point, you're more invested in that dynamic than you are in about
like halfway through season 4 episode. That would have been a great season 4 episode 13. Suddenly we're with Tom and B'Elanna and they're coming back and they're reviewing this. Cinema.
Yeah, like And it's like, because if I recall, this kind of got retrofitted to be a finale, right?
Yeah.
It was always kind of, which is baffling to me. But it's like,
No,
you could have
it-
made it salvageable.
It kind of
It
did.
was going to be the season 3 finale.
Season 3 finale.
What?
That's
Really?
weird.
Yeah.
They weren't sure if they were going to be picked up, so it was going to be the finale if the show ended
Oh,
after 3
okay.
seasons.
Right, okay.
It was never going to be anything other than TNG. A, it's the most popular of
Yeah.
Berman era.
Yes,
B, it's
yeah.
where Berman got his start. C, it's the first one in this 18-year run, so they wanted to bookend it. It just that's not really the series they picked is not really the problem. It's kind of everything else. So
Well, yeah, that's just like that's the first line on the shit. You know, just ugh.
Okay, so this episode was predictably written by Rick Berman and Brandon Braga. This was directed by Alan Croker. Alan Croker has done some pretty good episodes in the past. He's done A Time to Stand, Sacrifice of Angels. He's done Year of Hell, Bride of Chaotica. He's done Fight or Flight. I mentioned that one because we reviewed it a few years back. He's done The Expanse. He did Bound. But he's also done What You Leave Behind and Endgame. And now these are the Voyages. He has killed 3 Star Trek shows. He will kill again. No, you know what
actually,
I
I
mean.
thought
Yeah.
the direction was one of the best parts of this. A lot of cool reveals. The first reveal with Riker where he turns around, everyone gets, oh shit, it's Riker. When he does the objective mode, he no clips through the wall. That's cool. When they pan up and he's a Mako blasting away, like there's a lot of a little subtle reveal. Well, not so subtle reveals. Deanna at the end in the big auditorium where it stuff catches you off guard, and that's nice as a fan to be something you're not expecting. So I really don't have a problem with the direction here.
I think, see, I'm two minds of this episode because there are a few little glimmers in here that I liked. There are some things in here that I think could have benefited from, like I said earlier, being like a mid-series episode that maybe delved into this rather than the season finale. I feel like if this had been like in the middle of season 2, we would have been a bit more forgiving on it and gone, cool little crossover, a bit awkward, a bit janky, but fine, it is what it is. But because it's kind of like, it's very much over... No, I'm going to pick my words carefully here. I'm not going to say it's overhated. I do feel it is rightfully hated. But there is a little bit of sort of like, you know, if this was the middle season, we wouldn't have been so angry at it. But I do like everything with Riker being a chef. I was quite keen on his talking to every member of the crew because it kind of, although it feels like it's a bit shoehorning everyone into a role, watching Phlox make pizza was quite good. And you kind of see the little seeds of Riker in Nepenthe a little bit there. That's kind of what I was thinking as they're making pizza.
Yeah, a little bit.
I kind of like, I like this more sort of sociable Riker. When he relaxes, you just realise how personable he is. So, you know, and I don't hate the Riker and Troy moments in this. I don't think they're deserved, and I don't think it's the right episode to do it with Pegasus.
But they're just nothing, because if you've watched Pegasus before, they don't add anything new. All they do is reiterate plot points.
No, it's a
from
weird
Pegasus.
choice. Yeah.
And it doesn't really have any correlation to what they're going through at the time either. It has no correlation to Archer's struggle to write his speech. It has no correlation with Trip deciding to sacrifice himself. And it's like, is that meant to be it? It's like, yes, you'll choose to sacrifice yourself for your captain. It's like, but the problem wasn't necessarily about sacrificing yourself to your captain. It was about the chain of command and like stuff like that. Like, it was not. It just doesn't make any degree of sense. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Why did they kill Trip?
It's
Like,
just one of
actually,
those.
why?
It's
It
a
doesn't
very
add
it's a
anything.
typical TV trapping of it's a season finale. We've got to kill someone, and it's so predictable and just pointless that you see it coming a
But-
mile away. But it's like,
That's more a thing in modern media. I don't think at that time it was that popular of a trope.
I mean, no, it's
to
been
just
a while.
kill
I
someone
mean,
for the sake. I know, like Game of Thrones really blew it up in pop culture, but
no, I'm
they
talking
have
specifically finales. You always expect like, and you know, I'm
not in
talking
Star
going
Trek.
back to.
Who have they killed in other Star Trek finales? Just
not
for
Star
the
Trek
sake of it?
specifically, but like in TV in general. I mean, going all the way back to Wrath of Khan when there were people saying, right, it's a big movie moment, it's a big finale moment, let's kill Spock, you know, and everyone have their own outrage with that. And I feel like
Well,
a lot of
that's 'cause
TV
he wasn't going
and I
to
think,
come back.
yeah, and I think a lot of TV just leads itself to everyone going to finale and going, right, who's surviving this? And you are right, it is more endemic of modern media, but I don't think it was entirely uncommon. But I'm not saying that as an excuse, it was shit. But I feel like they sort of just went, right, it's a finale, let's have a shock effect moment here, let's kill Trip.
All right, so I'll agree. I think they did it just for the shock because Rick Berman's a shitty fucking
Yeah,
writer.
probably.
But I don't think that it's a classic Trek trope.
Okay.
Spock,
Oh,
when they
not
wrote
Trek-
him out,
no,
he
I'm not
was
saying
tired
Trek
with the
trope. No, no.
franchise. He didn't want to. He didn't want to return, and they ended up switching right at the end so that he could return. When they killed Tasha, it's because she didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
I think Hemmer is the only one I can think of where they killed someone for
No,
a
no,
reason other than they weren't going to come back.
I'll just
So,
clarify.
yeah.
I'm not saying a Trek trope. I'm saying a TV trope.
You mean
Just
like
for
in
finale.
TV? Trek,
Yeah,
but-
yeah, not Trek
I
at all.
don't
No, I
know
agree
that
with
that's. Yeah, I think I'm kind of with Auto here. I don't think that was as much of
Yeah.
a thing in the mid 2000s. I don't think. I think definitely a thing nowadays. Like, yeah, you go into any finale, you're kind of expecting half the cast to bite it, but back in the 2000s, not as much.
okay.
Maybe it's just the kind of TV I watch, but
Frank,
'cause the
did you
thing is,
pick
like-
this? Did you pick this episode because Trip dies, Frank? Is that why you like it so
did.
much?
I did, and I would not have killed him if I was writing this. I would have killed somebody else. Maybe multiple somebody else's.
Berman and Braga.
Yeah, they just appear and
blows up.
die.
I would have killed Archer and then had them weekend at Bernie's Archer through his speech.
By twisting the loose skin at the back of his neck.
They're all struggling to give because they're like, crap, he didn't write it. What are we gonna say? And they're trying.
Gonna have to hook him
now
up by his bacupec.
You say it's an overly hated, not rightfully hated, but overly hated episode and finale, and I will agree to that. And all the people at Star Trek Las Vegas in a big room that voted it unanimously the worst episode of Trek.
I also disagree with that, but go on.
Do you think it would have been better if you completely remove the Riker Troy TNG element and just had the actual episode starting off with 5 years in the future, we're going to be decommissioned. I'm going to give the speech that the last episode I started to give and said, oh, I've just got like 3 weeks before I have to give this speech. And now we're taking 5 years, but that's okay. And then we go through everything. We take a side point to go see Shran one more time, and then Tucker dies, and then I give the speech, and that's where we end.
No, the entire episode structure, like I'm pretty sure that Auto you mentioned that it was like a retrofitted season 5 episode or whatever that they were planning on doing.
No, it was going to be the
shows-
season 3 finale.
Well, no,
if
'cause
they
the
weren't- if they
Shran
weren't gonna
stuff,
be
I think you
renewed.
mentioned.
No, Shran was going to come back in season 5.
Yeah,
I don't know if this particular
I think I said
plot is part of
it
or not.
feels like that was the kind of thing they were going to do. This
Right,
an
okay,
episode
that's
they were
what
going
you
to pull
mean.
in season 5 to have Shran on full time.
Yeah, like if this was like a mid-season season 5 episode, you know, if that had ever happened, it would be fine. You'd have to have like another half of the episode to make it like anything, but it would have been fine. It probably would have been slightly unsatisfying if it was exactly the same, but as it is, like if I was like going for you have 30 minutes to write a Star Trek Enterprise season like show finale. It's like, guess what? I would just do what everyone wanted from Voyages finale and show. Guess what? It's 2161. We're decommissioning the NX-01. Here's the speech. Here's where everyone's going. We're going one last hurrah. Like, what is wrong with closure? That's the kind of thing I don't get about this. It's anti-closure. It legitimately stops right when they are about to give the speech. That like is all about like Trip's like. So I have to go out there and give a speech about how Trip's death was worthwhile, and then the episode cock blocks that speech just to say no, it wasn't worthwhile. Actually,
I'd like to. Talking of closure, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but I am saying that Voyager did kind of do the same thing. Voyager returned home. Credits roll. I would have liked to have closure.
Voyager
from that.
at least.
I agree.
Voyager at least motions it with what the
we by the way, collectively, we haven't been this impassioned about an episode in a long time. I just want to say, it's really pulling stuff out of us.
I'm trying to find. I'm
for
trying
the
to pick the good
record.
stuff.
For the record, Your Honor, I have got all three of these men admitting that Riker, Troy, and the TNG element made it a better episode. Thank you, the defense rests.
No, I haven't answered that. I think it would have been better without it, yes, because one of the complaints was that it took away from the feeling that this was our finale. They made it about TNG. They literally toasted, quote, the next generation. And I know just from various interviews that the actors involved were bothered by that too. So yes, it would have been better without that. But it was actually such a boringly generic side quest plot that it would have sucked either way. But I would think it would have been marginally better without that, just so that the people involved don't feel slighted by their 4 years of contributions.
Yeah. To go back to the point about like Endgame does sort of do the same thing where you would want to see Voyager, like you would want another episode after Endgame, really, to like to do all the tying of the knots, but to at least like gestures of what that would look like with the stuff in the future. So I don't mind it as much. That being said, I understand the criticism. This just manages to fuck off every camp by like not showing any kind of closure, hinting at it for 3 seconds, and then going, by the way, you're not going to get to see
It's
that.
not even real.
So, before we get too far away from Trip, because we haven't talked really about that, if you guys, I wanted to ask you guys if you can make one change to the episode other than Trip not dying, what would it be?
More to Paul.
This episode never existing.
Yeah, more to Paul, definitely. She's kind of going to be, I don't know, spoiler for late, she's going to kind of be my standout of this episode. Because I feel like she has been the only character this entire episode that showed any growth that's happened in the last 10 years. You open the episode, and if you hadn't said, oh, it's 2161, it's 10 years later, no one would, Hoshi's got hair down. There's this weird manifold in on the bridge now, and Reed, for some reason, is 3 inches shorter. Like, no one would have known, except if you look at T'Pol's mannerisms. She is a lot like Jolene Blalock, bless her. This is the last episode. She fucking hated being T'Pol. Well, okay, I'm paraphrasing there, but she definitely didn't have bad experience. She had bad experiences of being there, and I'm so glad she came back for that Lower Decks episode. But and T'Pol, Jolene, if you ever watch this, I would love you. Please come back as T'Pol in Strange New Worlds. You're amazing. But she does emote more in this, and you see growth in T'Pol's character more. That she's been hanging around with those filthy humans all this time. She's emotive, especially when she's talking to Riker as the chef. When she's talking to Trip on the shuttle bay, like you said, Otto, as well. You said that she's now leaning on him to be her emotional support. She's a Vulcan. Like, that kind of statement is insane, especially where T'Pol started. She is definitely the high point of this episode, because actually the only character that shows any growth whatsoever.
I'm going to piggyback off yours and say that if I could make just one change that isn't stopping Trip's
death. Make a change. More to Paul. Sorry,
yeah. I would say just like why bother going through the whole Trip and T'Pol have broken up? Why not make them married?
Yeah.
Like, at least then, like, the death would be tragic. At least then there would be, like, a stake to it. But instead, they intentionally go to the effort of saying, no, that relationship you cared about went nowhere. So don't care about it, and now he's dead. And it's so weirdly mean-spirited. It doesn't even feel tragic.
Why would Riker even know and care about their relationship? Like, these random people from, 200 years prior?
I suppose it is revolutionary because it is the first Vulcan-human relationship, so it's kind of in the record book somewhere. But I don't mind too much that they split up, because they do have a little moment where you kind of get a little, especially on the shuttle, and they're a little bit. These people still have feelings for each other. Trip is like, we're never losing contact. And T'Pol going, I believe I'm going to miss you. That's it shows. And them being split up shows a warmth that they can be friends. It's still platonic, and it's an evolution in a kind of ideological utopian Trek way that feels nice. It kind of feels a little heartwarming, even though things haven't worked out.
So you two are skirting dangerously close to the change I would have made. If we're going to kill Trip anyways, the scene after he dies, when Archer and T'Pol get together to talk about him, which fucking sucks. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
She reveals to Archer she's pregnant with Trip's child, and that's his legacy, because what the fuck did Trip die for? Absolutely nothing. At least with the child, it reaffirms his commitment and love to her, and it gives him some kind of legacy to carry on. That's a huge emotional point that would have, I think, brought the episode up a little bit, because
it would have tied in with
outside of Blaylock
Demons and Terra Prime as well. It would have been a nice follow-on from that.
Tied back. Yep, the true finale.
Overtide
says, no, I can't say that. Wait, oops.
Overtide says, it's like Ghostbusters 2. They split them up so we can see them get back together, but they gave it a twist and killed one of them off instead.
So, Frank, if you can make one change.
Keeping with the bit, it's just such a good finale. I would...
Thank you for admitting it was a bit. I was getting worried. Don't worry.
Make it a longer two-parter.
It's coming. Don't worry.
Yeah. This wasn't a two-parter. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's 42 minutes. That's all you get, baby.
Probably for the best.
I would have... make it a two-parter. I would have included just a little bit more time of Riker really mulling over his decision and ruining the day of Reg Barkley. I want to see Reg there having his appointment missed with Deanna because he took the time, and then Reg is like really like fuming, but he's not going to do anything because it's Commander Riker, and he's like, I remember a time I turned into a spider and I could have eaten you, but I didn't. And
he's just like stroking Spot really menacingly.
Yes. if we're gonna do callbacks, let's include some people. Show me more of the Enterprise D. I want to know more about this ship. Tell me more about this ship. This is beautiful.
You know what? We should see like Cetacean Ops, and they should bring back Loaxana Troy's gift box that says, we rejoice. And they should bring back the Aquiel dog. Yeah, and they should bring back the bouncy ball that was introduced to like Loxana and Alexander.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh no, not that episode. My God.
Okay.
And they should bring back Samuel Clemens.
When Poochie is not on the screen, everybody should say, "Where's Poochie?
Yeah, where's Barkley?"
So, all right, going from the worst, which we didn't actually talk about yet, to the best. I actually liked how they used the conceit of the holodeck. This may be the first episode where there's not some random bullshit malfunction. They use it like for educational purposes, for relaxing purposes. The objective mode is cool, and if they would, they still could. If they could just like go back, visit either other moments in Star Trek or this stuff, like kind of like a magic school bus in space. That could be fun for an episode. Like it's. For various reasons, it's not a good finale, but the actual conceit of messing around in a holodeck to learn and explore is a lot of fun, I think.
That's actually kind of a cool conceit, like actually having like maybe a limited 10-part series was like, adventures on the holodeck, right? We go back and we learn about, almost like in a kind of Doctor Who-ish way where they go back to a different time period, mess about, things go wrong, they have a bit of fun with it, and we all learn something, in a very kind of Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers way. I feel that might be kind of...
Could we learn about it in some kind of Starfleet Academy?
Yeah, maybe we finally get some answers on World War III. That'd be great. Okay, I have a question for you guys.
World War III. It was the Eugenics War.
It's a bit half and half. It's a bit vague. I've got a question
for you
guys.
They made it unvague.
Sort of. Anyway, so Frank mentioned at the 26th Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, the fans all chose These Are the Voyages as the worst episode of Star Trek. Now, guys, I'm not counting anything that came after. We're not going to count Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Section 31. No, because that's the obvious answer. We're not going to count that. I want to count everything before this episode. Is there a worse episode than this? I'm automatically going to say yes, there is. So those guys are wrong. So what were you rate lower this?
Because there are episodes that are outright offensive to me. Like, we've gone over how Code of Honor is actively offensive and how I think it damages Star Trek.
Yeah.
There's like Man of the People and Violations, which are just like kind of blatantly misogynistic. There's like what's that Voyager episode, like Retrospect, I think, which like ends up inadvertently becoming like an anti-Me Too thing, like when you actually think about the message there. There's stuff like Dear Doctor in it, which has like a really bad message about evolution. There are worse episodes that are more boring or more offensive, but this one manages to be both, and just like it would have been so easy not to do it. I think that's kind of what people object to most, almost, even if they don't quite key on it.
We've got this time slot in the schedule. What are we going to do with it? Just black screen. People just need a rest. Tell them to go for a walk.
Like, if you legitimately ended on Demons and Terra Prime and put in that, like, the TNG, TOS, Enterprise, These Are the Voyages thing, I think people would have been like, you know what? Not the strongest finale in the world, but as a finale for Enterprise, it makes sense. This, as an Enterprise finale, it makes no sense. It's offensive. It's just kind of, like, pretty dull. And it would have been better if it hadn't been made. And I'm sure you can say about some of the others as well, but it's like it would have been so easy not to do. They had no excuse. They didn't have to do it like this. They didn't have to do this. Like,
could have not.
The fact that they were so wrong-headed and they thought that there was some kind of Valentine to the fans instead of something that everyone universally reviles kind of points to a weird thing going on in their like subconscious about what people actually enjoy about their own media. Like, I don't get it. I just don't understand that level of disconnect from your own show. I don't get it.
I can understand it. Bosses are out of touch. I will say, to Braga's credit, he's done several apology tours saying that they were wrong. He understands why they were wrong and that they wouldn't have done it. Berman, I don't think, has said anything about it. But I was shocked because I'm looking up Berman's got 53 episode writing credits, 4 films, including Timeless, Equinox, Unification. Like he's got credits on some good episodes, but you said
Sorry, go on.
you said there's other episodes that are sexist or offensive. This one is sexist or offensive. He kisses a woman. He kisses to Paul when she's frozen, and then he asks Sato how hot the other male crew members are. There's multiple racial slurs in this episode. Like it's, you could, if you asked me who wrote this, I would say A. Roddenberry, B. Rick Berman, and it's kind of shocks me that he's got so many other decent writing credits. Maybe the other guys had tempered some of his stuff, but you can just.
I think it's a case of when it comes to writing credits, it's very malleable in terms of how much you have to contribute.
Can you imagine,
if you put one word, sometimes they'll give you a credit.
Or even if it's just a case of, I gave you the basic idea of a story. That's why they'll often have story by and then written by and teleplay by, because the level of refinement there is so intense. It's like if he just gave them the basic story premise, whereas this one feels like he was sat there and wrote it, was yeah, this is good. People will like this.
Can you imagine, if I'm thinking of my children, what I would do is if they'd just been rescued or someone had done them a favour and they just went, yo, thanks, slur, and then walked away, like that child did, go, thanks, pigskin, and I'd be like, hang on a minute, shut the
I want you to imagine that you've just done a really, really a grueling 18-day-long investigation using CCTV. You've found where a missing child has gone. They've been pulled up out of a well, and then they turn up and look at you and they say, "Thanks, Cracker."
Great.
I thought I was going to say the most offensive thing in the stream. I might be second by the time we get done.
Anyway, I found
you would love them for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I'm going to say, actually, that didn't bother me a ton. The timing is off because Shran hated Vulcans for years and years, his whole life before this. If this were in the contemporary Enterprise time frame, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. He hates Vulcans. He's probably said anti-Vulcan things around this kid. But he came to a peace agreement, or roughly by the end of the time period before this. I don't think he would raise his daughter in the preceding 5 years to say something like that. If this was earlier in the series, I could kind of see it. So it's not the worst, but it's just one of many.
It's just off-putting and it doesn't have to be there. It's so obviously a thing you didn't have to include.
Yeah. So Rick
and that little bit of growth, because he brings to the surface for the negotiation to Paul, the one race that he might hate more than pinkskins is the Vulcan, and entrusts his daughter to her to leave, because he doesn't know if he's getting out of this alive. They're about to do an operation, but the one person that he will trust is her. So that does say a lot for the growth. When they were writing this god awful script and stuck it in a drawer for 2 years, and then he opens the drawer and says, "Oh, what's this piece of shit? Okay, yeah, here's the finale. Yeah, the mask has come off. Now I can tell my true feelings." That was a nice little bit of growth that they thought to put in, but that might be the only nice thing I can say.
Okay, so Rick Berman did sort of apologize. In 2011, he stated...
sort of.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
He did. It's not really an apology. He stated that the episode was a failure and claimed that he would never have produced it if he had known what the reaction would have been.
Okay, but that's such a non-apology.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
If you knew what the reaction to what you were going to do was, you would obviously make decisions based on that. How about you take responsibility for being out of touch and a dickhead, Rick?
Honey, I wouldn't have cheated on you if I knew you were going to catch me.
Exactly.
That's exactly it, though, isn't it? That's exactly it. Oh my god.
Yep. Yeah, so
Sorry,
that's kind of the only thing that he said. But Brandon Braga has been around and said, one of his quotes in 2008, he said, "I don't think it's going to be a beloved episode." And then he had some... He said he has some regrets about it. He believed the episode had some great stuff in it, and it was a cool concept, but found it languid and not a complete success.
See, the thing with Braga is that, like, I always file in my head as the guy who's really good at, like, technobabble episodes, like he did, like, Timescape and stuff like that, and he's good at those. Like, his character stuff is, you know, he can be hit or miss, but I think he's generally a good writer. So I can understand why he would cop to it, but the complete lack of any kind of self-awareness on Berman's part is so on point. That's so... Oh, my God.
This episode reminds me of the Strange New World Season 3 finale, New Life and New Civilization.
Oh, no.
Where it was set up for a year prior. Well, that one was, we weren't sure if we're going to be canceled, so we're going to run it in case to try to put a bow on things. This one, same thing, Season 3 ender. But you had this percolating for a year, and you still didn't... Like, did they not mention it offhand to anyone? Hey, we might do this. Did wind or word really not leak to anyone that we might be doing these story points? We might be killing off trip? Because I feel like they'd be getting enough pushback internally that they would tweak things. They must have just discussed it between themselves and said,
"Yeah, I think that's exactly."
Well, since we're not getting canceled, we'll just do it next year. Or
no,
something
this is.
like that.
I mean, if you hear the stories of what the set was like in back in the 05 days, you know, and again, this is sort of not pre-internet but early internet. People aren't leaking things or discussing things as much as they are now. You're not getting as much in-depth production knowledge about where things are being filmed, but also the state of like the Star Trek writers' room. You hear topics all the time, especially from the actors. If you've listened to any of their podcasts of them, like, we make any one slight dialogue change, right, that's up to the writers' room, and you got to come back. And it's like, they would have not have talked to the cast about anything. They would have handed them a script and gone, this is what's happening. Like, there was no
I can
discussion.
absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, like, TNG, like, so you've got, like, Patrick Stewart, who can at least, like, you know, have a degree of, like, he has a degree of star power. Like, he, you know, he's not, like, the most, he's not as well known as he is now, obviously. Yeah. But he had a degree of, like, you know, he turned out, and then obviously as things went on, like, you would have a bit more power. DS9 was a very different thing because, you know, Avery Brooks especially had a lot of input into how Cisco was written. Yeah. And they took a lot of, I think, Terry Farrell's. Yeah, and like Terry Farrell's like input on what she thought was working about Dax and what didn't was like taken on board. But that was kind of the aberration because like Voyager, like Mulgrew's like frustrations with how Janeway was written inconsistently from week to week were pretty infamous and they never got fixed really. And then you get like Enterprise where it's like, yeah, I bet you a lot of those actors were really frustrated if there's a writer's room that actively isn't paying attention to them and won't let them like, you know, try and breathe any kind of life into it. And in that kind of environment, yes, this is the actually kind of episode you can only make after 18 years of having your hand on the tiller, where people can't tell you no. There's no Gene Roddenberry around to say, no, don't do this. Majel doesn't have that kind of power or that kind of creative impulse, I guess. She's more of a performer and kind of like matriarch, I guess, at this point. There's no other like creative force to say, hey, maybe don't do this. Because by that point, they'd like everyone else had either left or been shut out at some point. So, you know what? Yeah, this could only have happened at the end of Enterprise when you know things were at their fucking weakest.
Well, and sadly, that extended through large parts of Discovery and the first 2 seasons of Picard. I mean, Strange New Worlds has largely been exempt.
That's Henry Alonso Myers' baby, I think.
Yeah, and Picard season 3, I think, is kind of universally said to be kind of exempt, but otherwise, it's just been like this recurring theme that once certain people, and I'm not naming any names, got their stink on it, the stink just never went away.
No.
Okay,
and it's just there's so much about this that stinks of Burnham, Berman rather.
Freudian slip. I knew you hated her.
Guess what? I love Sonequa Martin. You know what? Fucking like I defy you to find an episode of Discovery that's worse than this. Actually,
let's not go there.
Let's not.
Here's the thing: you can get into it, but I won't agree with you.
I was gonna say you and me and Stars are on a different wavelength. Okay, in which case, speaking of wavelengths, here's some bread. Bread is a wavelength, right? It goes X-rays, gamma rays, bread. Okay, bread. The moment in the episode. The moment in the episode. Yeah, you wouldn't believe the kind of yeast I have.
No, Frank. What's your bread of the episode?
You all know what bread
I
is.
probably shouldn't throw it to Frank after that. But whatever.
Yeah, Brett, go.
Things are devolving quickly. Who would have thought? There's so much to pick from here. I have to say,
It doesn't have to be your best moment. It's just the moment that stood out.
yeah,
to you
it's
the most.
just
yeah.
the things that stand out. Is right now, Jonathan Frakes today obviously has a huge amount of pull in the Trek world. And in 2005, he still kind of did. He had been a very prolific director up until that point, obviously show and film. But he had input on his dialogue and his things. He wasn't going to let dipshits, write stuff down and he'd just say, okay, this is what I'm going to read. But I appreciated the moment that we're taking with him anytime he was on the bridge or in the quarters and he's just observing things and he's like, oh, wow, look at this, because he's genuinely impressed despite the fact it's a holodeck, of, oh, wow, these people live like hell. You forget for a second that he's supposed to be making a decision, and you forget for a second that this is robbing the actual Enterprise crew of their real, a good send-off or finale. And it's a cool little moment where it's like, okay, we've seen this guy literally on every show. This is just, he now has to be on this show. And he's saying, oh, wow, this is different. Voyager, it wasn't different. Deep Space Nine, it wasn't different. This is different. This is small quarters. Oh, yeah, that viewfinder Kirk had one on his ship. Well, that's you just say, oh, no, that was standard issue of scientific vessels. But he knows the Enterprise lineage. He knows these great names. And he's just impressed with all these little details, and he's calling out all these little details.
I still have no idea what your bread is, by the way.
That kind of went on. Where are we?
So him geeking out about the old ship is what you remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take that. That's good. Otto, what's your bread?
Gosh, I'll give you two. Sorry, I know you don't like when I do it. First of all, it's the objective mode, because I remember even the first time watching that. Oh, that's so cool. He switches uniforms and no clips. It sort of expands what the holodeck can do.
I'd love him to just
and
shout,
the other one,
IDDQD. That's a joke from
the other one, my newer bread is they pan up and he's got the Mako uniform on. He's just blowing away bad guys. It's so a contemporary. I could see myself doing that if I had a holodeck. So it was just a cool moment, and an otherwise kind of boring side plot. So
this isn't going to be on my bread, but I'm just going to expand on what you said. It is that there's a point when, in various times in the episode, he's like, skip ahead 1 hour to the... and it's like, right, you're just going to skip ahead all of the dialogue in the film and just go to the cool action scenes. You're not taking time to enjoy... You missed all the cutscenes.
He is ostensibly on a time crunch in real life.
Well, that's true.
I can't believe that Riker is of the TikTok generation. He's got no attention span.
Yeah, they'll do vertical holodeck soon. Okay, Stars, your bread.
My bread will also be a Riker thing, but slightly less flattering. The jowls, man. It's guess what? He is that's the thing. He's a bit older. It's so distracting knowing exactly what he's meant to look like in that episode. Yeah. Guess what? If you had said it after TNG, I wouldn't have said it. If this was set on the Titan, I wouldn't say a thing. But it's it was meant to be 90s Jonathan Frakes. 90s Jonathan Frakes.
They could have done a Titan thing, couldn't they? Yeah, they could have just had a couple of generic sets and then have some new dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I said, there's literally a million ways you could have not written this, and you chose to write this. But it was so distracting. I see your point about objective mode and all these other things, but it's I just could not. Troy looked more like how I remembered her. The wig was a bit off. It was it was genuinely distracting with Frakes of how much he had aged. And it's I'm not saying men can't age. God knows I'm getting grey in my hair, but freaking It was just genuinely really distracting. That's the impression I'll pull away from this. And what does that say about this episode? That my number one impression is, wow, this Enterprise finale has a lot of Riker jowls.
So this is going to pull. I'm going to pull a memory alpha pull here. I'm going to pull it very times. I'm going to say pull some more times too. During season 7 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Troy's hairstyle was achieved with a combination of Marina Sirtis' own copper highlighted hair and long wavy hairpiece. Sirtis has commented that when she went into makeup for These Are the Voyages, she asked about Troy's hairstyle. The makeup team realised that Sirtis' real hair no longer matched the season 7 hairpiece, and that the original expensive hairpiece used was missing. Resultantly, that's the worst time I've ever read that word.
Resultingly, yes.
No, Memory Alpha specifically says resultantly. Is that all?
Can we move this along?
Anyway, sorry. A full wig was hastily found and styled, one which Sirtis hated. This is why Troy's hairstyle in this episode does not match that as seen in the Pegasus. Anyway, sorry.
Do you guys remember, since we're talking so much Voyager, you remember that Voyager episode Good Shepherd, where Janeway has to pull a bunch of lower decks guys out?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Take them on an away mission. I feel like the production crew here is just the lower deckers. They have no clue what the fuck's going on with the episode. They're just like, can you find this hairpiece from 12 years ago? They're like, sure. And they go through like the annals and looking through footage. Like they're so completely removed from all the bullshittery. It's got to be a great job to just like style the actors and not care about what the higher ups are doing.
Who breaded? So we've had bread. Is it me? I'm breading.
Yes,
I'm
You're
breading.
Yes, you need to bake.
I'm gonna butter this bread. What was the point in Shran in this episode? Did he bring
Nigel bread
trip
to the Oni? Yeah, but they were generic ass aliens anyway. They didn't even have a name.
Yes.
And
yes.
there was no need for Shran other than to go, here's Jeffrey Combs. He's been in another finale from another series. Like, you know his face. You know Shran, he's popular, but it added nothing. They had a quick diversion. They had a quick shootout because Archer loves those. They're fun.
He was in 3 finales. He played the poker chips on the table and all good things.
and then for no real reason, and this is the other thing. This is my. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna
two breads. Admit it. It's fun, isn't it?
It's you know what, I'm gonna do 2 breads because
you can have 2 slices of bread.
I'm gonna have 2 slices of bread. It's also my worst moment, or would be. I don't know. In case the whole episode is instead. The aliens turned up in the ship. Someone asked a question. Why are you here? Because Shran lied. Okay. That's it. There's no security. There's no one stopping them from boarding. They're at warp. You didn't notice them dock. They didn't transport over. No. 3 aliens are on board, and now Trip has to blow himself up. 4 aliens.
It's extraordinarily lazy.
It was shit.
4 aliens overtook the Enterprise and its 80 people crew.
And
it's like one room as well. Like
they made a point to show that Reed had absolutely nothing to do in the episode. He was dicking around in engineering. So when there's a noticeable lack of security, you can't even say it's because he was busy doing something. He was just not paying attention. It made everyone look terrible.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to. Oh no, wrong button. Fuck.
I can show you my rating.
No, you can't. Fuck.
Professional.
I'm gonna play this one and play them at the same
best
time.
Advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire
That's what you get for making a 15-minute trigger.
Hang on, who made the trigger?
No.
You forced me into it.
I've never forced you into anything in your life.
Except for watching this.
Exactly. Best, worst moment of the episodes. I'm going to go first. The worst moment of this episode is where the fuck did those aliens come from? They turn up on the ship, and there's no explanation. It's complete laziness. That is my candidate for the worst moment of the episode. I'm also going to hijack this and go for best moment of the episode, and I'm going to go for I Believe I'm Going to Miss You. T'Pol in this episode. And I appreciate that was also mentioned earlier as well, in things I would change in having more T'Pol, but just the whole anything with T'Pol in this episode was just golden. She's the only character that shows any sign of having developed. We can probably excuse Mayweather because he was never going to develop in any kind of situation ever. And Sato just did her hair. But she was amazing, and that whole conversation in the shuttle bay, even though Riker was creepily just watching them the entire time, but they didn't know that. And obviously it's a small shuttlecraft with like 50 Mako in it and Archer at the controls, everyone being dead silent because they're having this very intimate conversation. They're trying to whisper, yet everyone can hear them. We've all been there. It was still a nice moment. I really did like that conversation between the two of them, and Trip being the very supportive one. Frank, your best and worst moment.
You're spoiled for so many best moments.
So many to pick from. Oh my
It's a
god.
rich tapestry.
Tapestry, not as good an episode as this.
You just
be
like
kicked outside
saying
the
these
shop.
things and comment just to make us go like, what?
It's just like that gift from Fury. Hey, kill that guy.
Yeah. The worst moment of the entire episode was computer in program because I didn't want it to end, and it should have just kept going. No, the worst. Can I say the whole thing, or do I have to specifically?
I think the consensus of the original Trek Time Charter
gotta
says
pick.
you have to pick a moment.
Yeah.
Damn that charter. So
We had a
I will
speech, no one saw it,
say
everything.
that the most meaningless death of a Star Trek main cast member of all the shows happened because he was trying to save Captain Archer from 4 bad guys that
That is meaningless.
somehow, to your
Archer.
point, boarded the ship at warp and held the entire ship hostage. No Mako force, no security, no nothing.
They were at warp. What the fuck?
Yeah.
No. Hey, let's just wait a second. Hey, my universal translator's not working. Anything. Hey, let's go see Phlox. Anything, you know.
I'm pretty sure they've been boarded many times and under worse situations, and they've got through it fine. The Ferengi episode, for example.
I think this actually highlights the fact that they probably wrote this in complete secrecy, because if anyone with a writing pedigree would have looked at this, they'd been like, these fucking, you can drive a shuttlecraft through these potholes. How do you not tie up any of this shit?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there, Frank.
No. I'll just specifically say Tucker's death, period. That even if you've got to kill him, give him a better death than that. Hell, last episode, Terra Prime, I said Archer should have died there, and Tucker should have been the one giving the speech. And if you're going to go this route, and if you're going to kill Tucker, have Archer so impassioned by it that he still shows up with the bruise of the rifle butt that he took, which was gone for the speech, by the way, and have him mention a heroic person that gave his life for this conference. But the best, oh boy, I will say, if it's got to be shit in a shit sandwich, let's do it in the kitchen. The little 30 to 50-second moments we got with each crew member in the galley talking to Riker, even though some of the content was crap of their conversation, it was an individual moment with each actor or actress where you could see them one more time and say goodbye, because that was it.
I mean, talking back
Did Travis have
to
one?
what you were saying
Yeah.
about the
Okay,
direct,
right,
yeah.
I forgot.
what you were saying earlier about Alan Croker's direction auto as well, and that moment when you have the final chat and he's in a chef's uniform, and then after his death Tucker walks in and he has that chat with him. Like, I remember you saying that was pretty a nice little moment.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, thanks for taking my best.
Let's go to auto.
Go ahead, Stars.
Auto's
I
not having a
think my
fun time
worst
right now.
moment. I'm actually going to actively shit on we're on Frank's points here. You can't actually have that whole thing about a person gave their life for this conference, because Trip didn't even die for the conference. He died for getting Shran out of a bad business deal.
Shran wasn't even there.
So
Shran had gone. Shran had fucked off by this point.
Shran wasn't even in there. So, oh my god, there's so much to choose from. I think the worst would have to be just the complete refusal to commit to the fact that this is 2161, allegedly. Like, it's been what, 6 years or like longer since season 4, allegedly. No one's moved up in rank. No one's changed. Relationships people liked have been and gone. It's the exact same bridge, except now you've got a pole with some more monitors on it. And we're going to vaguely gesture at the coalition of planets without really explaining what that is or why it's important, even though it was a big part of season 4. The most you're going to get is, look, we've got patches on our uniforms now. The complete refusal to commit to the fact that this was like a pretty epoch-defining moment. Like, this is something that will span into the 32nd century, and yet, like, it just doesn't really, it's not treated with any kind of pomp and circumstance or care. It's what's more important, this shitty little business deal with Shran or the creation of the Federation? Let's go with the bit about Shran. Like, you know, just that. My best moment,
I think a lot of the budget went to rebuilding the TNG sets.
Yeah, probably. I believe you. I believe that.
Like, they did a 10 forward section, they did a quarters, they
didn't even do it right.
Yeah.
They got the conference hall. They got the conference room wrong. I think my best moment. Fuck it, I'm gonna take the easy way out. It's just John Billingsley. He's always great, and like his little performance, in like the chef's galley. And yeah, his like little bit of, you know, I wish you luck, but you've always had an ample supply. Guess what? Billingsley always turns up and is always correct. I've never had an issue with his performance ever. And even if the rest of the episode was making me actively miserable, I was at least happy to see him. So I'm going to pick him. It's a cop-out answer, but guess what? It's a cop-out of an episode.
Auto. Wax lyrical.
Funnily enough, you three have all said some of your best moments with the galley. That's one of my worst moments. Reed says he was anything but tactful, what his countrymen might refer to as a hick. Riker asks Sato, did you find yourself attracted to him? I never really thought he was my type. He didn't graduate college. He could barely speak English.
Yeah,
he had his moments, but I still find him cute. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're just like randomly shitting on this guy who you unceremoniously killed moments ago, or in a few moments. It's like, what's the fucking point? And also in that scene where in the setting where he kisses T'Pol, it's like, this is just misogynistic and bigoted. It's like, this is such trash. So I'm glad you guys found something to enjoy in there. I did not. My other worst, right after he dies, I already mentioned the scene with T'Pol and Archer. He literally says, quote, "Time heals all wounds, but absence makes the heart grow fonder." He's just reciting cliches. The only emotion he shows is smiling several times. Now, Archer sometimes has trouble with sadness. I should say Bakula. He gets angry when he gets sad. That's just the way Archer is. You see that a lot. Similitude is a great one.
Yeah.
He's so pissed at Phlox because Phlox told him, we won't have to kill the symbiont. They had to. He was so angry. That's just the way he emotes as a character. None of that. Smiling after his best friend of decades, I guess, died. Blaylock, bless, was trying to do a little bit, but that scene was so bad. That should have been the emotional high point. It was really the low point.
Yeah.
The best is, actually, when Trip comes back, partly because it's a twist. He's already died. You're not expecting to see him again. So that little coda at the end is a nice emotional moment for him. You know, he's very charming. Connor pulls that stuff off. Always really great. So I guess that's his little send-off. It's better than that stupid wink when he's being wheeled into the ambulance.
Oh, that was so bad.
What's that about? Yeah.
Oh.
So conspicuous.
Frank, are you getting greener?
And Leon's getting large.
Is this St. Patrick's Day where you are or something? Okay. I suppose that takes us over to...
I can show you my rating code.
You should have played the best worst since you already mixed it up.
-3. It's much too low rating.
It's not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
Frank, since this was your pick, you are legally obliged to provide, as per the Trek Time Charter of 2022, you are legally obliged to give us a Schiller rating.
Have fun putting this one on the spreadsheet. I had so many to choose from.
Oh no!
I'm just glad it's not the one I said.
We could have done Marina Sirtis's missing hair pieces. We could have done a lot of things. We could have done Trip Tucker death winks. But gentlemen, I come to you and I say that it has been an honor watching this episode with you, because hope to God that this is the last time I have to watch this episode in my life, or at least for another decade. But how many?
Oh God!
And not for us spending time together and watching it, but
Is
just
this part of it?
objectively in a bubble.
Not spending time with. No, we haven't started. Okay.
How many to Paul sweetly sniffing the sweaty Seminole sweatsuit of Trip Tucker's out of 10 do you give this?
Wow. I'm actually get that in one go. To Paul. Okay, right. Frank. Oh no, actually, do I finish with the drafter, or do I start with the drafter? I can't remember.
I don't think it matters. I want to get out of here. So.
Let's go. Also, in which case, also you are first.
I actually do know where I'm going. I looked at the spreadsheet because we've been talking about it's just like the worst of the worst. It's bad. It's not the worst.
No.
Down at 1.9, we have Voyager's Time and Again, which have just the most boring, bland aliens of all time with completely banal storylines at 1.9. And then at 1.7, we have Charlie X, which is exceedingly misogynistic. And this had elements of both. So I'm going to slot it right between at 1.8 to Paul sniffing Trip's seminal wetsuits out of 10. It's certainly not the worst. We've mentioned there's a lot of good. There's some good moments. There's the sci-fi conceit of using the holodeck. There's some decent character moments, but it's bad on so many levels. And I know we shit on, but I am going to blame most of this on Rick Berman, because just the stench wafting off that script is so obviously from him. So 1.8.
1.8. Okay. Stars.
Yeah, this is. I'm struggling not to just like be a bitch and just give it a 0. There are things that are worse, but I don't know.
No, I feel like you shouldn't play the comparison game too much. How do you feel right now out of 10?
I feel like Star Trek would be a better thing without it existing.
Yeah.
I feel like it would actually be better if this episode didn't exist. So I kind of want to give it a 0. That being said, like, you know, there's Billingsley, like, you know, there's bits and pieces, I guess.
Blaylock.
Yeah, Blaylock's pretty good in it as well. It's hard to me appreciate because she's surrounded by so much shit. And she was just... It's so wild to me that, like, the emotional high point of Terra Prime with, like, you know, like Elizabeth's death, you compare it to how they treat Trip's death, and it's like, what the fuck, guys? I will give this...
Sorry, that is a thing. Just because we did just review it,
yeah,
I don't necessarily love that 2-parter, but the last 10 minutes of that, they fucking nail the last 10 minutes of that.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go out on a high note, like Jesus Christ,
yeah,
like that should have been the moment.
Excellent. Yeah, we all agreed on that.
Yeah, no, like we always say, if you're gonna have like a kind of a shaky like episode or a shaky 2-parter, end on the high note. You'll always be remembered more fondly for it. And if Enterprise had ended with that would have been a gut punch. Yeah. People would have respected it. People would have looked on it way more fondly. So yeah, with keeping that in mind, which is even more damning by comparison, I'm gonna give this 1 to Paul sweetly sniffing Trip Tucker's sweaty seminal sweatsuit. It's just a fucker of an episode. When I was doing my watch through with Brody and Marie, I was like, you guys, we don't have to watch this. We can actually just skip this. Like, I insisted we watch through every episode of TNG, of Voyager, of DS9. But I was like, this one, guys, it's completely optional. It doesn't add, it only takes away. And I think that is as true now as it was 2-3 years ago when I said that. It's just it's an aberration.
Well, I brought up earlier Game of Thrones. Like that was the nuclear option. No one ever references that show anymore except to shit on the finale. And at its peak, in pop culture probably on par or even more well known than like the peak of 90s Trek.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, yeah.
the fact that this actually didn't scare people off from Enterprise, in fact, a lot of people are kind of coming back to Enterprise and saying, "Oh, this is better than I thought." The fact that it didn't go that far, like it's nowhere near as bad as it could have been, but you know, it was awful.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm a little bit more positive, not far off, but I'm a little bit more positive. The episode structure is where it fails most of the point. It is a mess for putting so much stuff in 40 minutes. You absolutely could have done without the Riker Troy stuff, but you see why they did it, because it was the end of Berman era Trek. But even if they had done it, they could have done it with a bit more context. I like the idea of putting it in the Titan era, because that would have made so much more sense, considering the age of the actors. Not to body shame anyone here, but there is a noticeable difference. It was cool to see them using the holodeck in a cool function. I liked the Chef Riker stuff. That was good. I loved T'Pol in this episode and her conversation with Trip. I don't like the structure. I don't like what they did. I don't like how they cock-blocked us from the final speech. I don't like how Archer just doesn't give a fuck about anything other than his own achievements at the end there. Even when he's trying to console T'Pol and be like, what about me? My references, you know.
Me.
Yeah. So, and you know, it is just narratively a rushed. It's the definition of a rushed mess of a finale that you can see why it happened through the production of them.
That's
just going like,
Manicoto,
shit,
I'd be offended.
There are so many, and it kind of shows the errors of the Paramount Star Trek production team at the time, how they couldn't be flexible enough to go like, fuck, let's actually end this properly. And it also shows that how the ratings have suffered for Star Trek, and how this was and it was at the time, 2005 was the stagnation of Star Trek. People were sick of this kind of Berman era style of episodes. Even the resurgence of season 4, as good as it was, as good as people did like a lot of the two-parters and the stuff that happened in season 4 and the kind of return to form, general audiences kind of just didn't want it, and it faded away. And this is kind of an epitome of them kind of fading away into the night on just something that just went, here's a script, let's just get out of here, let's just go. But with that in mind, I'm going to be a bit more generous, not too far, but I'm going to give this a 2 to Paul Sweetly sniffing the sweaty seminal sweat out Trip Tucker's uniform. So I'm going to go
Wetsuit.
Yeah.
Hey, but good for you for not cheating and looking at the spreadsheet. I appreciate it.
I just moved over to the other screen.
Okay. You're just playing Tetris.
I moved it back now.
All right,
Frank. Frank,
Bring us home.
Frank, why are you getting greener?
I think that might be on your end. He looks fine to me.
I'm getting angry.
What? Hang on, what?
Angry from watching this. Otto, get comfortable. You're going to be here for 20 minutes.
And another thing.
I hate that even down to the very last thing that we see on Star Trek for a decade,
pretty much,
is another Enterprise with another captain saying something, fading into another Enterprise with another captain saying something, to fade into this Enterprise and this captain getting to say the final line. Why that couldn't have been him the whole time, why it couldn't have been part of the speech, why it could have been anything else. And that's just working backwards. There's not enough redeemable things to say this is a worthwhile episode of Star Trek, to say nothing of a series finale or even a season finale. This is just 42 minutes of badly written disappointment. And for that, I have to break ranks with all of you and give this a high rating so it will jump in the spreadsheet and it will not live at the Drex.
Too much
I'm
power.
lying.
We need a veto.
I must agree with my esteemed colleague, Stars and Garters. This is only worth 1 to Paul sniffing sweetly. The seminal, sweaty sweatsuit of the dearly departed Trip Tucker. out of 10. May this episode rot.
Fantastic.
Inside a corpse's shell.
Wow. So at the end
I'm
of
glad
that,
I picked it.
this is a 1.5 out of 10.
Yep.
Sweet. You'll be interested to know that we gave
Still beat out the Strange New Worlds finale. I love it.
Strange New Worlds season 3 finale, which was you, me, and Dan Auto. After a very long 4-hour review, giving it a 1.3. This beats it by 1.5, which kind of feels apt. Lonely Among Us was a 1.6. Charlie X was a 1.7. Dax we gave 2 somehow, even though that's probably the most boring of boring episodes.
So boring.
So yeah, it is firmly at the bottom. It is, in fact, let's just have a look. It is, where are we? The 1, 2, 3,
I was just gonna say, at least I didn't commit the cardinal sin of being boring, but actually those aliens came real close. Like that side quest was, they couldn't give them anything.
Even get, I don't think the species got named. Did any of the characters get names? I don't think they did.
Just generically growly bad guys the whole way through.
The only episode we
what this is?
Go on.
You know what the actual distinction I can give this episode is? It's the best reason to have cancelled Star Trek. Guess what? If they hadn't cancelled Star Trek, this would be the ultimate reason to cancel it.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're done. You stop.
You know, if we're gonna butterfly effect, like if this episode didn't air and we go off on like the Trip and T'Pol high note, would Blaylock have been involved in more Star Trek in the future? Like maybe they do.
I feel like
they do like a mini series, or something like during COVID they bring them back. Like that could have really been interesting. But
I still think they should do like an Enterprise follow-on, but like an animated thing. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I would be down for that. I kind of half did it with the very short treks, but not really full weight. Just for your personal information, below everything here, we do have New Life, New Civilizations was 1.3. The Last Outpost we gave 0.7.
I'm gonna rate that. I think I like it a little better than you guys.
Yeah, well,
I gotta go watch
maybe we
it.
should revisit.
I like it more now that I played Star Trek Resurgence.
Yeah, with hindsight, it's a little better. And the Children Shall Lead was a flat 0, the only flat 0 of any episode we have.
You can't tell me that this episode was worse than the Children Shall Lead. That was unremittent garbage.
Justice was a minus 0.4. Code of Honor was a minus 0.5, and then obviously Section 30...
that's because I gave it a -4, I think.
And Section 31 is a minus 1,428,098.7.
As it should be.
I'm going to get through a stream without making a Section 31 reference one of these days. But
you love that movie at this point. There are really good episodes of Star Trek you haven't talked about once. There is so many. So many.
Sure I have. I'm sure I have.
There's a super cut.
Would it shock you? Would it shock you or anger you to know that I have yet to watch the Section 31 movie?
I can't wait for you to watch it, just not with me. I am not watching that film ever again.
Third time's a charm.
Fourth, it would
That's
be at this
not
point.
true.
Anyway,
That's not true. I've seen it 4 times.
Make the one of the stretch goals for the charity to watch Section 31 again.
I hate that. That's such a good idea.
If we raise $10,000, I'll watch every minute of the. I'll watch every minute of it.
Yeah. There you go.
There's our final goal.
Sure. I don't have to pay attention, but it could be on the stream whilst I am also on the stream. Okay, thank you everyone for watching and listening.
I'll get Worf and Riker to hold you down and prop your eyes up.
Clockwork Orange style. Yeah. We'll be back soon. Keep an eye on the schedule, on the YouTube schedule. We'll probably be back some point in the weekend or next week with the next draft pick in our schedule. So from us all here, thank you very much. We'll be seeing you soon. Live long and prosper, and let's hope the end of this episode will be better than the end of Enterprise. Ta-ra!
Fridays, days, and Thursdays.
We alternate Wednesdays and weekends.
Hold on, I don't think I'm old enough to hear this kind of thing. Ladies, good day. Romano, good luck. You can return my car in the morning. If you can still drive, I'm taking the bus.